Welcome to Milking the Franchise, the Cash Cow
Chronicles,
where me and Chris watch movies.
Tanner, I love this bit, but he doesn't even talk in a robot voice in the movie we watched today.
That's true. You're right. Dang it. I was too late. I should have done it the last 3 movies.
No, it was perfect. And I don't think we should re-record it because this is what people want to hear. Us talking in robot voices.
The entire time. I'm doing the robot right now. The dance.
I can see one. Looks great, dude.
Thank you. Hi.
Really been practicing.
Chris, how's it going? This is the podcast where we watch every movie in a franchise. It's called Milking the Franchise, and we do that. We watch every movie and talk about all of its milk.
That's right.
Everything that goes along with it and how these movies get remade and rebooted and milked to death. Is that about sum it up?
That's got it. And the episode you're listening to today is our 4th and final movie from the RoboCop franchise. We watched the 2014 RoboCop reboot, and we're gonna be talking about that one a bit.
Absolutely. Chris, how are you today?
I'm good, man. Happy Thanksgiving. A little late. That was last week. But
happy Thanksgiving. A little late.
I hope you had some turkey. I had a nice phone call with my family. You know, I live abroad, so I don't get to talk to them as much as I'd like. And had a nice couple days staying in a little place outside of the city. So got some downtime.
Oh.
Yeah. How was your Thanksgiving?
So you went out and got an Airbnb somewhere?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I did indeed.
Did you get a
place called Guarne? So it's a little town near Medellin.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Cool.
How was your Thanksgiving?
So you had an extended break too? You had like 5 days or something?
Yeah.
Nice.
I do live in Colombia, but the school that I work at is an American school. So we get the perks of the American holidays and the Colombian holidays. It's kind of nice.
So they don't. Okay, yeah, I got it. So other schools don't have those days off, right?
Right. Yeah, like public schools and stuff. No, but the American school does have American Thanksgiving. So yeah, it was a nice little break, and yeah, man, just a couple weeks left in the semester, and I'll get to come back to the States for a little bit. Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, my Thanksgiving was fine. Ate a bunch of food. Fell asleep on the couch and watched football.
Watched football?
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty low key. We don't do like a huge family thing anymore.
Sure.
So just immediate family. But yeah, I thought about RoboCop a lot during that time. So I was doing my homework. Just thinking about RoboCop.
I'm imagining you at the Thanksgiving dinner table just constantly changing the subject back to RoboCop. The rest of your family getting annoyed.
Yeah. Well, speaking of RoboCop, okay, so what we do on this pod here, we have a survey that goes along with every single movie that we watch. And we want you guys to make jokes and watch along with us. And luckily, we have some Reddit friends out there, or at least people who took the time. I don't know if they're listening, but they took the survey for our last movie, which is RoboCop 3. So that was RoboCop 3 is the final of the original trilogy. This one today will be the reboot of the first movie, or just the full series reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get into the RoboCop 3 survey results. And if you are following along, make sure to look in the show notes for this week's
survey. Yeah. For the
And
one that goes along with the 2014 reboot. And we'll also have some questions, just a couple questions just about the whole series, the RoboCop series as a whole. So Yeah, check the show notes for that stuff too.
Definitely. All right. So let's see. RoboCop 3. Favorite line from RoboCop 3 was, well, half the vote went with "My friends call me Murphy. You call me RoboCop."
Last line of the movie, right?
Line of the movie. Maybe they're just happy that the movie was over.
I don't know, man. I wanted some more jetpack action.
Yeah, actually, me too. The jetpack is pretty cool. Worst part of RoboCop 3, we got 75% of the vote with the PG-13ification.
Okay.
So just kind of like making it a little less, violent and, kiddying it up a little bit. I think people didn't like that. That's what I voted for.
Yeah. And considering it came, Frank Miller had a hand in writing that movie. It's pretty crazy that they went that far the other way.
Yeah. I don't think he had much.
The screenplays were pretty violent.
Sounds like the studio really is like controlling these movies, and same with the reboot from what I read. So we'll talk about that later. And the next one, we got favorite robo attachment. So in this one, he can attach his arms, change his arms out for different things. There's a flamethrower gun, an automatic gun, and a rocket gun. And then, but the best one, of course, the winner is the jetpack.
It couldn't be anything else. It had to be the jetpack.
I was, I'll get to that in a second. But I asked, like, what else could you do after the jetpack? And honestly, I think the jetpack is that's the top. That's the jumping the shark for attachments.
It's kind of the jump. It's the trump card on that. Yeah, I don't think there's anything bigger. Yeah,
like, oh, we can upgrade. Jetpacks is where it tops. That's why they didn't make a sequel, probably.
Where do you go from there?
So we got favorite way of complimenting someone's butt. They made a point of one of the characters constantly referring to this girl's butt. Sweet cheeks, cute little butt, smart ass. But the best one for me that I thought, the reason why I wrote the question was he called it a legendary ass. It's actually tied for the vote. But legendary ass got it. Somebody wrote in an answer too, which is actually a really good one. I'd buy that for $1.
Fantastic, right? An answer. Yeah.
That is amazing.
I'm chuckling to myself over here.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
So shout out to whoever did that. Was that you?
That one was not me, no.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, one of our listeners.
All right. Next question. So a man at the police station asks the cops if they also have an alien cop, a vampire cop, or a ghost cop. Just a quick little scene of that. But what kind of cop hybrid would you like to see? So we got vampire cop. Somebody just said they want to see that one. And then samurai cop. Hey, shout out to the bad movie, Samurai Cop.
That's right. And its sequel is out, Samurai Cop 2. We've seen both of those together. Yeah.
The first one's so good.
Yeah.
Monster Cop, ACAB Cop, transgender robot. All right. T-800 Cop. Okay.
Right.
Amorphous Blob Cop. Wolf Cop, Demon Cop, Baby Cop, Stripper
Baby
Cop.
Baby Cop. I'm just
Baby
imagining.
Cop.
What's that? What are those movies
Alec
where
Baldwin?
talking babies? Look who's talking now.
Oh yeah, I was thinking like Boss Baby.
They're doing like violent police work.
Yeah, exactly. Baby Geniuses, Baby Cops.
Yes. Yes.
Copstronauts, keeping space safe.
Mm-hmm.
Some
good answers in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Which one of these cop hybrids would make the best franchise, and what would that look like? So we got Vampire Cop, something like Dexter. Okay,
I'd watch that.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So during the day, get all your murdering done during the day because Vampire Cop will not catch you.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got Samurai Cop would have big hair, plucky African American partner, and an angry chief. Okay, so just he wants to see the movie Samurai Cop, I guess. We got an I'm not sure. And then another vampire cop because only Robo is immune to him.
Ooh, I like that. So we're like, it's still within the RoboCop universe. We're just adding other different types of
Oh,
cops.
we're doing a RoboCop monster rally?
Yeah,
Is that
it's a
what's
monster
happening?
rally. Yeah, that's exactly it.
A Robo rally?
Robo rally. Yes, yes.
Okay. I still don't understand that. Does that mean that the RoboCop
Well, I mean, RoboCop doesn't really have a neck.
That's true. Okay.
You know what I mean? It's all robot parts. So what's the vampire going to bite onto? I think
I
that's
see. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool. And then we got Alien RoboCop. I don't
Cool.
know. Yeah, that'd be fun. Then we got RoboCop versus Terminator. Classic.
You read that graphic novel, didn't you?
Oh yeah. Great
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
That would be a great movie. I hope they do that one day. Then we got Wolf Cop. He only turns into a cop on a full moon, and there is no crime that night. And then Ghost Cops. They all solve their own murders and hang out with Whoopi Goldberg. Oh, like Ghost, the movie Ghost.
Just like Ghost. Yep.
Awesome. Besides the jetpack, next question: how could they have further upgraded RoboCop for the next sequel? Solar power.
Solar power. I like that a lot. Yeah. Huge solar panels.
Yeah,
him around
RoboCop's
everywhere.
going green.
Mm-hmm.
We got baby food dispenser for all the infant RoboCops.
Oh, good. So
The baby cops.
Uh-huh.
Stronger and faster. Nice. I always like his utility leg from the live action series. Okay. I'm not familiar with that exactly.
I did not get to utility leg in the episode that I watched, so that's a mystery to me too.
Sounds fun. I assume he just has a bunch of like tools. It's like a utility belt, but on his
But
leg.
it's in his leg, kind of like his gun pops out there, I would assume.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll have to look that up.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. They could have given him an Inspector Gadget hat. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, that's good. And Tanner, forgive me here. I haven't seen a lot of Inspector Gadget. What did his hat do in particular? Do you know?
The only thing I remember, I think it has a lot of gadgets on it. Like it does a lot of things. But
got you.
What I remember is a propeller comes out and two handles come out, so he holds onto it, and then he can fly around.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I
Thank
remember.
You. I have that brings back a very distinct picture. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Inspector Gadget. Then dual auto nines.
Okay. So some big guns.
Two guns.
Mm-hmm.
Katana arms. So two just giant swords for arms.
Tight.
Lasers.
Good.
And a penis to make Robo Baby Cops.
I'm loving all the Robo Baby Cop content in the survey this week.
They're gonna make it so he can procreate. That'd be great.
Uh-huh.
And then we got a submarine periscope. Oh, so we're going
underwater. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, that's a good one because he's already been on land. I was thinking something like maybe turn him into just a full-on rocket ship, but because that's where all sequels go. They always end up in space.
Yeah. What if instead he goes to Atlantis? They made a RoboCop in Atlantis movie. Oh my god, I would love to see that. Yeah.
It's like an Indiana Jones, but RoboCop.
Yeah, and a lot of it's underwater.
It's all underwater. All right.
Lewis is a dolphin.
The Cindy and Lewis.
Sandy and Cindy from Jaws 3, yeah.
All right. Let's see. Next question. How would you have done a better RoboCop 3? We got more violence. Just more violence that makes better.
Yep.
More like 1 and 2. RoboCop joins the Splatterpunks instead. Okay, so he just becomes a bad guy. Let's see. Budget
that
basically.
That would have been interesting, right?
This is a long answer.
Okay, go ahead. I'll get out of the way.
Oh, okay. Well, wait. You mean like go undercover, or he just becomes a bad guy? with the splatter.
Well,
punks.
I mean, who is the bad guy in that movie though? Is it the Splatterpunks or is it OCP?
Well, I think both, maybe.
Both?
I mean, those guys are pretty. They're pretty bad, aren't they? The splatter punks.
Yeah, you're right. They're always
It's
popping
not like
trank
they're not. Yeah,
like a
they're
creep.
popping tranks. They're not the resistance. The resistance obviously are the good guys.
Are the good guys? That's true. That's true.
Those
Okay.
are like the gangs of the world, right? So I'll read the long one last. Let's get through the other ones. What would make a better RoboCop 3? A love scene between RoboCop and Lewis.
That robot penis is back.
Keep Peter Weller R-rated. Don't kill Lewis. Get a better script. There it is.
Great. I think that's the answer there. Yeah.
Take out the child hacker. Make it darkly funny, but keep the fun and the jetpack. You got to keep the jetpack.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I think that's a good answer.
All jetpack content. Just him flying around a jetpack, no plot.
Like jetpack races, jetpack heists. It's just all jetpacks.
Then
all right, we ready for this big one?
Okay, I'm not gonna read this whole thing. Budget, basically. If they'd spent Robo 2 money, it would have been a much better looking film. More time for shot stunts, etc. There's 100 good moments there that could be made much better with a little extra time and money. Like the church shooting, solid Robo Murphy moment. All you have to do is have McDaggett whip out the Cobra instead of an M16 grenade launcher. Immediately, fans know the threat of that gun, I guess. It shows McDaggett has done his homework and is intelligent. Shoots the Cobra. Robo moves to shield Lewis, but it makes no difference. This is very specific. It punches straight.
Yeah, so this is the shootout scene in front of the church. That's the one we're talking about.
This is where she dies. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So trying to make that scene have a little bit more weight, maybe, is what he's trying to say. Or they're trying to say.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah. Okay.
So it punches straight through Robo, straight through Lewis, hits the church, and explodes. Lewis is not killed because of a single round. She's pretty resilient to those, winky face. It's the shrapnel from the explosion as she's sandwiched between the explosion and Robo. So same narrative beat, just a little more time and money spent. Okay. I don't know if that would change.
I like that change to that scene that he's pitching, but I don't know that fixes the whole movie.
Exactly, yeah. It still would need to have all the other elements that made it not as good. And then you could have Robo's Civil War go on for 90 days. What can you make in 90 days? A RoboCop. But Lewis would have to have her mind intact. Oh, okay.
Oh, dang. Lewis RoboCop is what he's pitching here.
Oh,
hell yes.
Actually, that's bad. That's amazing.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Changing the story wouldn't fix the PG-13 and the lack of satire. You know, like the humor that came with the first one.
Yeah.
But I love that.
What a better way to use her death.
And that's the way to exactly. And to upgrade, that's like the future upgrade is like, how do we upgrade him for the next movie? Don't upgrade him. Get another RoboCop, a partner RoboCop,
a lady RoboCop. Think of all the toys you could sell to girls. RoboCop toys.
Finally, and we'll make it G-rated.
On the real though, this is a great idea. Yeah,
I love that idea.
Yeah.
Or you have Robo on the search for her throughout the movie, and in hospital he mercy kills her. Okay, that's a sharp turn. Okay. Yeah, I love the 2 Robo idea, and then they want to come on the podcast. It sounds like so. I don't know who they are. I should really do a podcast about all these shower thoughts. That's how they finish it. Well, thank you. I hope us getting your ideas out there.
Thanks for sharing your shower thoughts with our podcast. Yeah.
Thanks for not sharing your shower photos with us, though.
We don't want those.
Please keep those to yourself. Rate RoboCop 3 on a scale of 1 being RoboCop 3 and 5 being RoboCop 1. We got the winner was kind of right in the middle. A couple on the lower end, a couple 4 out of 5. So maybe 2.5, 3 out of 5. Average?
Sure. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Cool. Well, thanks everyone on Reddit for filling that out. Or if you're watching the show consistently and just using the show notes, that's amazing. And thank you for taking the survey.
Yeah. And check the show notes for this episode because we have another survey for the movie we watched this week, which is what, Tanner? I'm pivoting. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm pivoting. Oh, it's RoboCop,
nice
baby.
Segue. Excellent segue. Yeah. You've been working on that?
Oh, I've been working on my segues.
Oh, driving them around or what?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Chris is
I always wear a helmet
mechanic.
Uh-huh.
Fixing.
I always wear a helmet and wrist guards when I'm riding my Segway around. It's for safety. Mm-hmm. You better.
I'm pretty sure those are safe already, but if you need to, you can feel safer.
Yes, exactly right. Anyway, should we jump into to this week's movie, Tanner? Our 2014 reboot?
Let's do it. Yeah, so this is the reboot. What's that?
I was hoping you were going to say that.
I could have pivoted. You never know. I'm kind of a wild card.
Yeah, that's right.
So, RoboCop 2014. This is a full reboot directed by Jose Padilla, who hadn't really done a whole lot of stuff that I'd heard of. He was a part of Narcos after this, but hasn't really done a whole lot of movies that I know of. And it stars Joel Kinnaman as Alex Murphy himself. The titular RoboCop.
Is he in other things? I'm not familiar with Joel Kinnaman.
Yeah, I feel like he's in a lot of different things. He's in this new movie. We actually just watched the trailer for it the other night, for Bad Movie Night. It's like a Christmas action movie called Silent Night.
Okay.
It looks kind of fun. He's in a bunch of random stuff, and he's on this show that I've been wanting to watch for a long time called For All Mankind. And that show, it's like in its 4th season on Apple Plus, and it's about like it's an alternate history show where what if the Russians had made it to the moon first and just basically changed the course of history because of that.
Sure.
And it's supposed to be really good, like one of the best sci-fi shows out there right now. Other than that, he's in the Suicide Squad, some other things. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is he Rick Flag in those movies?
Is that his name?
I think he might be.
I don't actually know who he is in there, but yeah.
Okay. Anyway, not important, but I wasn't super familiar with him. But he's the new RoboCop in the 2014 version.
Yeah. Yep. And he's fine. He's fine. It's not his fault the movie wasn't very good.
This is fair. He has the look, the Peter Weller look, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into this movie.
Let's do it.
Yeah, it starts up with everyone's favorite RoboCop character, Samuel L. Jackson, hosting a show called The Novak Element.
I kept calling it the Novak Report. I'm glad you said that because I know I'll get it wrong.
Yeah, I thought why didn't they just use Media Break? Also,
I don't know.
In the graphic novel that I read, there was this exact show, but a little bit more Jerry Springer called Luke Spindle. But they decided to go a whole different way with the Novak Element.
Yeah, I think they were trying to make like a Fox News-ish kind of show.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
What did I think of it? I thought it was, it should have just done the normal Media Break thing. It wasn't.
I thought so too. Yeah. There's no satire. It's just like OCP propaganda is all Samuel L. Jackson is here doing.
Yeah, the satire in this it's not played for laughs as much as like kind of just like, I don't know, they're trying to make some comments about terrorism at the beginning and, imperialism and stuff like that. What were you going to say?
It's like they watched Homeland, that TV show that was popular like 10 years ago, and then made this movie. Yeah.
Speaking of Homeland, I was thinking when I was watching this, okay, it's nothing like Homeland, but Homelander was my jump to the show The Boys.
Mm-hmm.
I think the people who make The Boys would be really good at a RoboCop reboot. Because I was thinking The Boys is kind of like a superhero satire version of RoboCop. Am I wrong about this?
I'm listening intently. This is a great
It's
idea. Yeah.
it's just like very violent, but like played for, it has the satire in the right spots. Maybe, there's some things about The Boys that the plot isn't that like, I'm not hanging on every thread of the plot, but all those beats are really good, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I feel like they could do it. And the reason I went down this train of thought as well is because Amazon now owns the rights to RoboCop, and they're thinking of doing a show. So hopefully, the next iteration of RoboCop is kind of like The Boys ish. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Listen up, Amazon. You've got those writers. Bring them
listen
over.
to us, please.
Maybe they're one of. Do you think the Amazon Corporation, is one of the 6 people that filled out the survey this week?
Yes,
Yeah.
all 6 of them. They had
Uh-huh.
their I don't even know, their troll farms out there
Yeah.
filling out our survey. All
All
right,
right.
so yeah,
Well,
we got
let's
Sam
come back
Jackson as
to
Novak here,
Mhm.
and there's so many famous people in this movie, Chris.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Samuel L. We've got Mikey Keaton shows up in a little bit, but
Oh, Mikey.
oh, Mikey. Yeah. So during this TV segment for Samuel L. Jackson's Novak Element TV show, they send a film crew to Tehran in the Middle East, in Iran, and kind of show off all of these OCP robot toys. So they've got the Ed 209s, and then they've also developed what look like just RoboCops, but with no person inside. Right. So that's a new thing in this movie.
Yeah,
Those
just like just
Yeah.
evil robots.
Yeah, and so it shows some news footage, and these robots. There are so many robots on that street. There's like 50 robots. It's like one per person. But it's kind of this dystopian nightmare of just all these RoboCops everywhere, and they keep chanting, "May peace be upon you," which I thought was a pretty funny phrasing.
Wait,
And
the robots say that? I missed
yeah,
that.
the robots keep saying that in that opening scene.
Yeah, they're trying to show it as like, see, look, we're protecting these countries from terrorism. Because there's people like, at one point, a guy jumps on him and tries to like suicide bomb himself onto an Ed 209, and
Yeah,
they like kill him, and they're like, well, look, we're keeping them safe, rather than realizing, I guess the satire there is that, they're saying that they're keeping them safe rather than in a police state, or right?
right. Yes.
Yeah.
And that guy wouldn't have done that if there weren't all these like dystopian robot cops around. Because the scene very quickly devolves with the news crew on site. A bunch of the locals are not into it, and they decide to kind of take it into their own hands, and they have suicide bombs. And the scene ends with Ed 209 killing a kid who's just holding a knife. And then the news footage cuts away from Tehran. And Samuel L. Jackson goes back to his pro-robot spin about how the only reason his camera crew survived is because they had these robots out there in Iran. So,
And there's he says like, why is America so robophobic? And basically the plot is that the thing that they're doing, they're trying to get these robots already exist. OCP is already doing them. They're working, in other countries, but they're not allowed on U.S. soil because due to what's the name of the act?
The Dreyfus Act.
Dreyfus Act.
Yeah.
And so throughout this movie, OCP is lobbying to get the Dreyfus Act repealed so they can bring robots to it. And by doing that, they need a humanizing robot figure, and that's where the RoboCop comes in.
That's right. They need like a mascot to show that that this is a good thing.
Yeah, and then where does it go from here? I think.
Yeah, from here we meet Raymond Sellers. He pops up in the end of this, and he is Michael Keaton, and he is he's the new head of OCP. He's replaced the old man from the last couple movies, or from 1 and 2 at least. And let's see, What else happens here? Yeah, that was kind of the end of the Novak Element segment, and we don't really get a lot of like cut in TV stuff throughout this movie. I think he pops up one or two more times, but there's no fake ads. And yeah, there's not a lot of satire in this. It's more of a direct comment on Middle East policy, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of a weird way to start this movie, I thought, but you know,
definitely.
it was okay.
Yeah, and then I think we get some just shots of Alex Murphy on the beat, and you find out he's got a partner named Lewis again.
Hey,
but what's the big difference here?
Is she hot in this movie, Tanner?
I think she's hotter, honestly.
You might be right. Yeah, it's played by Michael K. Williams. Omar from The Wire is his partner Lewis in this movie. So they have swapped out the lady who played it in the first three for Omar.
He does
like,
not get enough
level up.
Yeah, he does not get enough screen time in this movie.
I agree. When you saw him, were you hoping that they were going to do a Michael K. Williams RoboCop? Because that's immediately where my mind went. It was like, oh God, I hope he's RoboCop.
Had you seen this before? Curious.
I had not seen this before. I mean, okay. There's a Alex Murphy in this movie. I knew it wasn't going to be.
Yeah.
I can dream, you know.
I mean, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a weird change, but they got the Lewis character as well, and I think those are the only two returning characters at all, right?
As far as I know, yeah.
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 What do we got here? It's a lot of confusing plot elements. There's some cop who's there's some crooked cops here, but it's kind of hard to follow why this is all happening. Do you have any idea?
They packed so much cop procedural stuff into it's only like one of the two or three main storylines, but there is so much cop stuff going on here. There are crooked cops who are working with this guy named Antoine Vallon, who is like a criminal, and Murphy had previously tried to buy guns from Vallon to arrest him, and the sting had gone badly, and Lewis got hurt. If that was a lot of words, it's because there was a lot of dialogue. There was like a lot of, I don't know. All of this happened very quickly. There was a lot of,
and it was kind of like through flashbacks and stuff. I think the movie technically starts and Lewis is in the hospital already, and then it's kind of showing how he got there and this shootout with this bad guy, the Vallon guy or whatever.
Yep.
And he's got like dirt on some of these other cops who are in on this situation. So some of his coworkers.
Yes.
But I don't think he has all the evidence. Is that right?
That's true. Yes. The two cops that have been working the case for 2 years haven't found anything. And so he has kind of he and Lewis have taken things into their own hands. But things don't go well. And they end up getting the longest shootout of all time. And Lewis gets hurt. And he's in the hospital now. Anything else from that scene?
Just kind of jumps around. And back and forth through time. I think there's like a board meeting for OCP, and this is where they talk about how they need somebody with no anger, no prejudice, no fatigue, and they want like a humanized robot to try to get this passed. This law repealed, in fact.
They need to turn public opinion in favor of robots, and then then they can have this vote.
Hey, we're gonna put a man inside a machine.
So
they go to the Dr. Dennett Norton, played by Gary Oldman, who's as great as ever.
Yeah.
Him and Michael Keaton kind of lift this movie a little bit, I feel like. So they go to him. He's first when you meet him, he's like giving this guy robotic arms who lost his arms. And
did you think that this scene was insane as I did?
The robot arms playing guitar scene?
Yes.
Explain.
Okay, so maybe I'm a little biased on this. My dad has one prosthetic arm, and when he lost his arm, he had to give up almost everything in his life and like start a lot of things from scratch. Mm-hmm. And then in this scene, they have replaced this double amputee's arms with these incredible new hands. And so he picks up a guitar and he's playing just an amazing melody on this guitar, and his wife is crying and Gary Oldman is crying. But if his emotions get too high, it interferes with the system or something. And he starts complaining that he needs emotion to play guitar. And when I was watching this, I was like, bitch, you can play guitar again. Like, this should be the happiest moment of your entire life. Like, how are you complaining that you're not back to like a concert level fucking guitar player? Like, oh my God, man. Like, looking a gift horse in the mouth. This guy let you play guitar again. You have no arms. Like,
but Chris, you can't play music without emotion.
This was insane. The way they wrote that was insane.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, you can't play. He's like making the argument that I can't play without my emotions, but then for some reason, the emotion, whenever he feels emotions, his arms can't play correctly. Is that right?
Yeah, yes. It kind of hand waves this. Yeah.
Yeah. But I can't play music without emotion. Even though it still sounds like really good.
Still sounds amazing. Yeah, mean, freaking Michael Keaton shows up and he recognizes the song that the guy's playing. And if you had just lost both your arms, wouldn't you be pretty stoked about that?
I mean, you can do, if you can do 90, play it even like 90% as good as before, you should be very thrilled.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
So that scene had me rolling my eyes a little bit. But we do meet Gary Oldman here. I agree. He's a nice presence in this movie.
Yeah.
And Sellers shows up as this guitar scene is going on, and basically recruits Gary Oldman to join his RoboCop team because he has all this, robot knowledge. He can make these incredible robot arms and stuff.
Yeah, so he's their best scientist. So yeah, they want him on this job, and this shows that he has the element or the ability to merge the human with the robotic, like seamlessly. Basically, that's what the guitar scene was trying to show.
Yeah.
Even showing to the point of like, I didn't even think about this, but the emotion part of it is like, well, they don't want, if the Murphy character shows emotion, they want they'd want the robot to like not act on it, right? So they kind of set up that the robotic arms don't react well to emotions. I wonder if that was supposed to be like a little foreshadow of some type.
It's got to be for that part in the movie later where they turn down his dopamine, right? They're like turning down his emotions and stuff. Yeah. So,
but Michael Keaton asked him to be a part of this RoboCop project, and he's like, I don't do combat stuff, but they talk him into it somehow. Just I guess just by saying like, hey, there'll be no more crime if we do this. Like, how could you say no to that?
He also gets funding for his robot research. That was also part of that scene. Like, so he's there's some stuff there too.
So he does a little bit of a dirty deal here.
Yeah.
Yes.
In his first, so then they bring him to one of these board meetings where they're talking about candidates. Because again, OCP needs to create some sort of human robot hybrid that they can actually use in the United States that doesn't violate that law. And it needs to be like relatable enough that it's going to turn public opinion, right? And so they're going through all of these potential candidates, basically different handicapped police officers that they would RoboCopify, but none of them are emotionally stable enough. Gary Oldman doesn't like any of the candidates that are available at this point in the movie.
Yeah, I don't know how they determine that, but I guess they do.
Great point. And also the last guy that they showed just needed prosthetic legs. And it seems like they could have just done that.
But I think they want him less human even.
You're right. That probably would have been too human. Okay.
I have a note that just says bad cops want to kill Lewis. Is that in here somewhere?
Yeah, there's a quick scene in here. The bad cops go to Antoine Vallon and basically give him the location of the hospital that Lewis is being held at, and tell him that when Murphy is going to be there visiting him. And so that leads into a scene right after this boardroom scene where Murphy is visiting. Is visiting Lewis, and you see one of Alan's goons put a car bomb under his car.
Oh, I totally missed that. I was kind of
Yeah.
like, when did they set up that they're going to kill him?
Dude, there were so many quick scenes here in the first part of this. They set up so much story.
Yeah. Why are they trying to
I had to
kill him
rewatch
exactly?
this. Say
Just
that again.
Why are they trying to kill him? Because he's onto them. I guess that's why.
Yeah, because at this point, remember, this is after they went and tried to do this gun buy, and so like they're clearly after Valen. I don't know why the bad cops want him dead so badly.
Yeah, because they don't. He doesn't have any info on him, really, right?
No, at this point, no.
Yeah.
So
well, maybe they're worried he would find out. Yeah, so they put the car bomb under there, and then there's a little scene. You get a little romantic scene between Murphy and his wife.
Ooh la la.
And they're about to make sweet, sweet love. But Chris,
Oh.
the worst cock block of all time happens. A car bomb.
I
hate it. When I'm trying to fuck and a car bomb goes off and I die.
The worst, dude. I hate that. Because that's exactly what happens.
His alarm goes off. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And he goes out to turn off the car alarm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kaboom.
Kaboom. And so this is kind of the instigating event. Murphy is on his deathbed, and his wife reluctantly agrees to let OCP turn him into this half robot, half cop.
So she actually gives like permission in this movie rather than OCP just kind of doing it behind her back. Yeah, which I thought was kind of a weird thing. The wife plays a much bigger role than in the other movie, that's for sure. Well, she's not even in the first movie. Yeah.
I also thought it was weird in this movie, and we can talk about this later, but Michael Keaton is almost a good guy for the first 3/4 of this movie. And I feel like this scene kind of builds upon that, because in the first movie, OCP, they didn't ask permission. They just did shit. But in this movie, they've made Michael Keaton into this really relatable, like sympathetic character, like a likable character. And I don't understand why they did that.
Maybe it's just
that's like he's supposed to be the bad guy.
Keaton.
Yeah, maybe I just like Michael Keaton.
It's that thing of like, well, of course we want to protect our streets. Like I don't want, having no crime and no violence sounds really good on paper, but at like what cost are you willing to like, because you find out later that he's trying to lobby just to like, he's trying to make money and get these on the streets, and he's just all about making money. So eventually he does the bad things because he like, people are getting in his way. But when no one's in his way, he seems nice, I think anyway.
Yeah,
maybe it's just Michael Keaton's likability that makes you like him.
I think that's it. And I don't think they should have cast someone this likable in the main villain role. But maybe that's just me. Anyway.
I'll get to it when it happens. But so then we get a 3 months later cut.
Yep.
And I don't really know.
After the 3 months later, you think he's like a full human. The first scene that they cut to is him dancing with his wife and talking to Lewis. But that's all a dream. And then they wake him up from his dream, and this is the first look at the new RoboCop suit.
This movie, this is where I really decided. Okay. The most annoying thing to me in this movie is the camera work. Like the camera's constantly rotating and moving, kind of like the Tony Scott style, where it's like this really shaky action scenes and stuff. It's not quite like that, but everything is always spinning. The camera's always spinning and zooming and moving. Not once do they have a still focus on anything, and it really drives me nuts. It's like dizzying and just annoying and pointless. I don't understand why they do that. The Tony Scott style, sometimes I like, sometimes I don't, but it has to be like really action-packed stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But this is more like moving, like rotating constantly left and right. Anyways, swirling around, making me dizzy.
A lot of swirling scenes, without a doubt. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, then you get this.
I also can I chime in one quick thing here, Tanner? I also did not like this scene, but for very different reasons. I think that the way that they had his skin stretched back in the original trilogy looked awesome, and in this movie they like put a helmet on him instead, and it looks so much stupider.
That's what I was just gonna say. Yeah, agreed.
And this is the first time you really get a look at that. And then also, they don't really make him a robot. Like in the first 3 movies, they use like part of his brain and his spinal cord, but he's supposed to be mostly robot. But in this one, he's just a guy.
Exoskeleton suit.
Exactly. He has his entire personality. He doesn't talk in a robot voice. It's, in the first movie, like there's that scene where he spins the gun, and that's supposed to be like this strange remnant of his old personality that like made it through into the robot version. But this movie, it's just Alex Murphy with an exoskeleton.
Even though I think they make the point of saying it's like it was a different brain, right? Like they used someone else's brain. Did I catch that? Maybe I misheard that.
I think they were talking about that because at the time they had to do a bunch of brain surgery because like his brain was all fucked up from the explosion. That was my understanding of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very just not as cool looking. Just a man with a helmet on. Yeah.
And honestly, it gets worse when they put on the black suit, but we'll talk about that later. So at this point, Alex kind of freaks out because he is a cyborg. Like totally justifiable freak out. He runs out of the facility and tries to escape, but they shut him down and bring him back. It looks
like they're like in China or something because he escapes and it's like a rice field or something outside, right?
Yes. They actually had. I'm glad that you brought that up because later in the movie, all the fight scenes with him against the other robots when they're training him happen in China for no reason.
Well, it dawned on me just now that maybe that they did it there because it'd be illegal to do on U.S. soil or something to do all these experiments and stuff. So maybe
you're probably right.
Let's put it in China. That's like we can like get away with stuff here or something. It's like akin to why don't we just do it on a boat in international waters? Do you remember in Morbius?
Morbius. That is literally like I haven't thought of in a while. Yeah.
They literally like he takes his experiments into international waters on a boat so that he can do all these like crazy experiments.
That's right. Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of like that idea.
My thinking on it when it said it was set in China was like the producers of this movie wanted to sell this movie in China, so they added this at the last minute.
Definitely that too. That's probably even better.
There's this point later where it goes from China to Detroit to Washington D.C. and Michael Keaton is in all 3 places, and it's like, why? Like, what are we doing, folks? But anyway,
they didn't go over like the transport. They transported him back to the U.S. All of a sudden, he was just back there.
Yes.
So they shut him down out in the fields. They bring him back, and then they show him. This is one of the cooler parts of this movie, I thought, was that they show him just stripped down to his only remaining parts. So they take the suit off, and it's literally just 2 lungs, 1 hand, and like his face and brain, which I thought was kind of a cool looking thing. And then like the suit kind of wraps up around him, like Iron Man or something. What did you think about that?
I mean, I thought it was a cool idea. I didn't love the graphics on it. I thought the lung bags looked kind of cheesy, and hey,
who you calling a lung bag, huh?
Hey,
old lung bag.
But yeah, I agree. It's a change that I'm fine with. I think it's a nice thing to add. Because the CGI is just so much better in 2014 than it was in 91 or 92 or whenever the last one came out.
It's a cool idea for visual. I think you're right that it looked a little cheesy.
Yeah,
but it's a cool idea for like a visual of a movie like this.
I agree. I
Um,
agree with that
like
100%.
these are your only parts that you have remaining. I don't know. It's kind of a crazy moment.
Yeah. And I
And then
did like
RoboCop.
let him
Yes,
keep one human hand because it had that shot of him holding up the two hands, and it was like pretty obvious metaphor, but it was kind of nice, half human, half machine.
I did read a little tidbit on that.
Hit me.
So they said the hand leaving the one human hand was a callback to the first movie when he's at the begin when he's turning into RoboCop the first time. They're doing all those first person camera views.
Yeah.
They show at one point they show Morton talking to the doctor, and they're like, "Should we keep his hand? It's like his human hand. This is the only part that's left." He's like, "Nah, get rid of it, throw it away." Like,
right. Okay.
that's like an extra human element. We don't want it. And so this was like, we're gonna keep that hand for some reason. Anyway,
I like that. Yeah. Well, it's a
Yeah.
it's a reboot. You can do that part different, and they set it up that they had a hand. So
yeah.
um
So yeah,
yes.
RoboCop says that he's like, well, if I have a choice, then or he's like, you're in control, RoboCop. If I'm in control, then I want to die. So he doesn't want to do this. And then they're like, well, think of your family. We spared them, but they can't let you go. They can't let your family go through your death again, kind of thing. Playing with his emotions.
That was super manipulative, this whole scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only part that made the doctor like a bad guy, in my opinion,
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's kind of going through more testing and stuff. He has a FaceTime with his wife at one point. And she's like, when are you coming home? But he's still gotta work out some kinks, it sounds like, right?
Yeah. He's not quite ready to come back. We also have a quick scene in here of him getting equipped with weapons. So he gets a taser pistol, which I think is new in this movie. Yeah, I don't remember that from the other ones.
It's like set your things to stun or whatever. It's like a stun pulse kind of thing. That way they can have the PG-13 rating and they're just incapacitating everybody rather than killing everyone.
Exactly, yeah. And he still gets to carry around that big gun and shoot people.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
there's some training scenes, virtual training scenes where he's going up against a robot.
And he's slower.
Yeah, his emotions getting in the way, or his thoughts are getting in the way a little bit. He's hesitating slightly more than the robot. Not bad. And there's a couple little funny things here. One guy keeps referring to him in this movie as Tin Man.
Mm-hmm.
I hated that so much, Chris.
Did you love it when they used the Tin Man song from The Wizard of Oz in this scene then?
Did they?
Yeah, they did.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, did they like rock and roll it up, or was it just straight
Tin
Man?
If
I only had a brain?
Yeah.
Oh, how did I miss that?
The guy who's kind of a jerk who gave him the weapons, is like, I like listening to music, and then he plays that song over this scene.
So yeah, I think you're talking about the one who calls him Tin Man, right?
Yes.
So his name is Jackie Earl Haley, which I had to look up every time. He's in so many movies, but I never remember his name, and I was referring to him as that one guy throughout my notes. So
that one guy
calls him Tin Man.
Yeah.
Also, should they just have called this movie Tin Man? Just make.
I mean, that would have. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it should be called Tin Man?
Yeah, because it's not the same RoboCop that I know, so they should just call it the Tin Man, and it's like a dark version of Wizard of Oz. No,
a dark reboot of the Tin Man character. Yeah.
The origin stories of the Tin Man.
I do have a brain.
There's also, during this training scene, somebody references, they say, while they're watching it, I wouldn't buy that for $1.
Yeah.
Little classic play on the classic line there.
Mm-hmm. And he uses that in the context of like RoboCop is slower than a full robot. The human part is slowing down our efficient machinery. So I wouldn't buy that for $1.
I think, was that Jay Baruchel that says that? He's kind of
No, I think it was your Jackie Earl Haley that dropped that
Oh
line
yeah,
at the point.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, Jay Baruchel is also in this, another familiar face, and he's like in the marketing. He's on the OCP board, whatever that
Board team.
called.
I liked his energy in this movie. I thought that was that he did a good
He's
job.
always pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, where are we here?
Let's see.
This is the next scene was the Keaton and Oldman having an argument scene, right?
Yep.
They're really chewing up the scene too.
Can I jump in with one quick scene in here with
Sure.
RoboCop? There's a funny scene of him Googling himself, but he's using Microsoft Bing, so he's binging himself, and he finds out through there.
Chris, don't use such language on the mic.
It's that robot penis from the survey we were talking earlier. Yeah. So he bings himself and finds out that Antoine Vallon, they don't have enough like evidence to convict him of the murder of Alex Murphy, and also the two crooked cops go on the news to defend Vallon, which I thought was just insane. Like, those two crooked cops are so crooked.
Yeah, making a point. Yeah, well, don't even get involved. Don't even say anything.
Why are you going on the news talking about? Oh, yeah, like what? It's just way over the top with their crooked cop kind of personas. But anyway, sorry. So I wanted to jump in with that before you got to your scene. Yeah,
I don't really have much on the scene except for these two just chewing up the scene. Mm-hmm. I was just loving their interactions together, and I don't know. I love both those actors quite a bit,
without a doubt.
But basically, they're talking about needing somebody to root for, like a human person to root for, a human robot.
And Sellers is a little pissed that RoboCop is too slow. He wants this thing; it has to go off right. This is our one shot to turn the tide and get these robots legalized in the United States.
Yeah. So. Basically, they want him a little bit more machine. Take out his ability to make decisions. Yeah. So what do they do here? Is there more training scenes or something?
There's one other scene that I caught in here where they show a combat mode suit for the RoboCop, which looks like the RoboCop from the old movies, and I was like, I want that. And then instead, Michael Keaton's like, no, let's make it more tactical and black. And I thought the black suit just looked like the alien from Alien. It looked like a xenomorph.
Yeah, and, sort of. Yeah.
I don't know. I missed I don't know. I did not like the new suit, the black one. I thought the old one was better.
Like wait, you're talking about the original RoboCop suit, or you're talking about the first version, like the gray one that they had initially in this movie?
The gray one was okay, but I think, I don't know, like, make it look like a robot. Like I don't know that it needed the update, but
it looked bad. The visor, I think. If they just had the hat look a little bit more like the traditional one, it would have looked better. Right?
I'll give you that. Yeah, but don't make the helmet quite so sleek, and I think it would have looked a lot better.
Yeah, sleek and sexy. And they make a point of saying that when the visor goes over, that's when he is in RoboCop mode and has no control. Like it's like an illusion of free will or something. He thinks he's making the decisions, but they're kind of being made for him. So when the visor's down, he's full on like battle mode and just crushing it. But then when the visor's up, it's man over machine.
Yes.
So I kind of like that idea where the visor's down, you're just fully going, then you turn it up and he can be his human side again. They don't really play with it that much.
I agree. It's a nice thought, but there is too much plot in this movie. And I think this is something that they very easily could have cut and made this movie a little easier to follow. But it does OCP. It is actually a fairly important plot point because OCP is stoked because now they have a machine that's as good as their other machines. But they can say that it's a person, so they can use it in the United States. It's a little loophole,
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing in the rules that says that a dog can't play basketball. There's nothing in the rules that says
it's Airbud logic.
Exactly. They found their loophole in the rule sheet.
They were watching Air Bud, and they're like, "I've got it. We'll do a RoboCop reboot." Oh, there's an Air Bud Cop. There's a good movie.
Oh, I'm all about that. Yeah.
Dog Cop.
I feel like Chuck Norris made one of
Have they
those.
done that? Oh yeah, there's K9,
Yeah.
K9
Yeah.
or something. Yeah. All right. So everything's good. RoboCop's set. What's up?
There's a quick scene in here of him after he has this new update, and he's better than all the other robots now. Of him just laying waste to, I think it was like 50 or so of these robots in a warehouse, and just asserting his dominance over the other robots. And he drops the line.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
You go. What?
He drops the line. What happens when I tase an exoskeleton with a little asshole inside? And I thought that was one of the better lines in this movie.
Yeah, that's the one guy. He tases that one guy.
Exactly, that one guy, or Jackie Earle Haley. So now I think RoboCop is finally ready to go onto the streets, and we are an hour into this movie.
Ugh.
Yeah,
get it over with already.
They clearly wanted to do like a origin story of RoboCop, but I don't think that that's the strengths of the first three movies. It seems like they've wasted a lot of potential RoboCop time. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of plot, a lot of setup here.
Yeah.
And we still got a little bit more because he finally comes out and he goes to see his family and his son. Maybe the only moment that he actually has with the son in the rest of the movie.
I think that's there's a brief interaction, I think, but I think you're right.
Yeah, they his son saved all the Red Wing games for him. He's like, "How are they doing?" I don't know. I haven't watched any of them. So he hasn't read the news apparently. Trying to get a little human moment here with him and his son.
Yeah.
But I think that's it. Then he leaves. He's like, "I got more shit to do. Sorry, kid."
Well, no, the line he uses is, "Daddy's suit needs some special handling." Yeah. You know what I mean? And I, as a viewer, don't know what he means.
I thought him and his mom were going to get busy after that, but I guess I was wrong.
Oh, do they go RoboFuck?
No, my suit needs some special handling. I thought that was code for mommy and daddy need some alone time.
Need some alone. Go watch those Red Wings games by yourself.
Yeah, let me know how they're doing, because I don't have that kind of time to watch 40 Red Wing games.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do a press conference and introduce RoboCop, right?
Yep. But they couldn't even make that simple, because at the same time they're also operating on him again, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So there's a press conference. The Novak element is covering it. So we get a little bit more Samuel L. Jackson. And meanwhile, he is inside the police headquarters, and they are downloading the entire police database and a bunch of CCTV footage. They're just putting a bunch of crap into his brain. And initially, he's using that information to solve crimes. He's like putting all these things together and locating people. But eventually it becomes too much, and he has he starts freaking out a little bit.
Yeah, he gets overloaded, and I think part of it was maybe he came across some info of his death. Because it's all police. He got downloaded with everything they ever had in their database, everyone's fingerprints and all that. All the security camera footage from the entire city of Detroit, I guess, or the world, who knows. But yeah, so I think part of it was he gets hung up on the accounts of him dying, and he's
trying to solve his own murder.
Yeah,
just like Ghost, dude. This is Ghost.
Is that the plot of Ghost?
I think that's Ghost. I haven't seen Ghost in 20 years, so I'm not exactly sure. But
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's trying to solve his murder in the movie. Is that part of the movie?
Yeah, he can't pass on into the afterlife until he solves his own murder.
It's a great idea for a movie. They should do that.
They should do that. Yeah.
I guess they did. Yeah, so he's freaking out over this, so they turn off his emotions before the press conference because they want it to go smoothly. So basically he's just a full-on machine here, his family's here. They bring him out to the public, and people are sort of impressed. But then he's scanning. He's just sitting there out at the press conference, just scanning everyone in the audience, identifying them as threats. So he's full on just cop mode right now. And he finds one guy who's in the audience for some reason. He's there, hiding in plain sight, a guy who has murdered someone, and he immediately just attacks him in front of everybody. Why was that guy there, Chris? Why would he be right at this police station?
I don't know.
What an idiot.
What an idiot. Yeah.
But Novak goes on TV after this and promotes it as like, hey, this guy's, he spins it in a way that people, I think, like RoboCop, right? Even though it was kind of a shocking moment and his kid got scared and all that. He's out there.
He apprehended a killer that the police had not been able to locate for like 5 years or something. And so, yeah, he's the, you're right. Novak is really selling this as the, we need these robots around. Look how quick, look how efficient they are, all that.
Yeah. I don't really have too much on that. I think next
there's one other little bit in there. Like he walks past his wife and his kid and barely acknowledges them. So like adding all this whole database of, crap from the police department has really kind of minimized his human side and made him much more robot-y.
Robot-y. Look at my robot-y.
Rohotty with the robot-y.
Hell yeah. So I think next it's patrol time, right? They just kind of he walks into the facility, or the cop station or whatever, and just says, "I have 13 cases. I'm taking these cases, and see ya."
Yep.
Right. So he's going to find number one case, John Biggs.
About time we got that guy.
Yeah, it's just John Biggs, Jason's dad, of course. I don't know. It's just like an action scene.
Also a pie fucker. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's no. I think it's just like kind of showing him on the beat, right? I don't think this furthers the plot really much.
I think that's correct. He does have another change they made in this movie. They gave him a motorcycle, so there's a bunch of scenes in him in his black RoboCop suit, just like winding through traffic on this motorcycle.
Another change that I kind of thought like the motorcycle was kind of cool.
Fair, yeah. And they use this scene with the motorcycle. I agree, pretty cool. But also, like, I don't know. Some of the changes I think took away from some of the like appeal. I don't know. He's so freaking powerful at this point. It shows him driving around on this motorcycle and like using his downloaded, police procedural stuff to like access like cameras and recognize like affiliates of bad guys. He's like doing crazy computer shit while he's driving around on this motorcycle. And basically solves this crime to a drug factory, which is what I'm going to call the place that he goes to. And he just goes and murders a bunch of dudes. Classic RoboCop.
Yep. Wasting fools.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's got no more fear. They make a point of saying, basically he just is solving some crimes, and he finds, is this where he finds one of the guys related to his murder? Or is that too early for that? No. But there is a weird scene. I guess they're watching him. Is OCP watching him do this entire scene?
I think so, because they have like a live feed of what he sees.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And they talk about they're going to make a ton of money. They congratulate the doctor, but the doctor seems a little conflicted. Yeah.
Because I think the doctor knows that they've really put they put too much crap in his brain and he's not acting as a human anymore. Yeah.
So, and also that he just created like a monster, kind of like he's he's Dr. Frankenstein. Yeah. So then there's a quick shot of that one guy talking to Michael Keaton. And for some reason, I didn't really get the connection or why after what they just witnessed of RoboCop arresting this guy. He gives this guy complete access to controlling RoboCop as a second pair of eyes, right?
Yeah.
Why do they do that? Like, what did they see that made them not trust RoboCop? Do you know?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Um,
yeah, I think the public opinion on RoboCop is really good. People are loving it.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton goes on the Novak report and kind of promotes him a little bit. And
Super softball interview from Novak, right? Because he's clearly doing the dirty work for OCP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have on the Novak element now Michael Keaton is there and they're talking about repealing the Dreyfus Act, which we talked about. And then they have like a senator on to argue against it. And yeah, they're like, it's not, the Dreyfus Act wasn't about Alex Murphy, it's about not letting robots take over or like have, be able to just roam free in our streets. But they kind of cut him off, and then they kind of posit like, has the U.S. Senate become pro-crime?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So it's a lot of, they deal with a little bit with the media spin and that kind of like, biased media stuff like that. They went for a little bit of that angle with this show.
Yeah, I guess it's still satire. It's just not as funny as the satire in the original movie,
Yeah, it's like,
yeah,
because satire should be humorous, right? So
yeah.
I don't really know if it's just like they missed the mark with what they were trying to do. It doesn't go far enough to make these funny these points, right? Like it needs to be a little bit more outrageous to hit that satire correctly. I think.
And honestly, like I said at the beginning, they had a character in a talk show in Frank Miller's script for RoboCop 2 that they didn't use in the movie RoboCop 2, and I think that show would have been better than this Novak element if they had used. Let's see. Sorry, I wrote down the name of it. Luke Spindle. Yeah, they have that show that I think would have been better satire.
And his name is even Spin. Like there's the Spin on the news.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that they made it very Fox Newsy, and I think that they could have gone, like you said, they could have gone farther.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a little on the nose and not as much.
Not funny enough.
Not funny enough.
Yeah.
So where's it go from here?
Well, let's see. His wife stops him on the street and confronts him and says, please, you got to come home. You've been out here RoboCopping all day and RoboCopping all night. And our son is scared ever since that night. And right after she says that, he gets back on his motorcycle and drives away.
Yeah. He's like, doesn't say anything, immediately leaves.
Exactly.
But he does do that. But then he is listening to her, right? Even though he doesn't say something. Because he goes to his house, I believe. And they're like, oh, he's somehow overriding the systems on his own. Just somehow. The human side is coming through again.
That's right.
So he goes to the house and he scans for evidence of his death. And he's just kind of scanning, doing a whole bunch of scanning.
Mm-hmm.
Did they find anything? He must have found something here.
God, did he find anything? I don't know that he did, because he ended up returning to like some low-level snitch that they had used in the first act. And the gun thing, that's how he ended up getting to Antoine Vallon. So I'm not sure if he even did find anything at his house. But you're right. He is like looking out for his son a little bit more. This has become much more personal and much less super cop, I think, in the eyes of OCP.
He basically is triggered now to be like, he's on his revenge and solving murder moment. Yeah. So he's searching for Antoine Vallon now. He's off and about. And like you said, he found some low-level guy named Jerry White, and he just kind of shows up at his house, pulls him out of his car window, breaks the window, and interrogates him. And and has him give him information on Antoine Vallon, but he doesn't know anything, so he gives him information on the driver for Antoine Vallon. So just another piece to like get to him, I guess.
Mhm.
And he shows up. Maybe I missed something here, but he shows up at some facility or something, and they turn off all the lights. Is that the next scene?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because he tracks the phone number that he gets to this location, this like
Right.
safe house where Valon's hanging out at. Yep.
So this scene, okay, so he's found Valen just that easily. In this scene, they turn off all the lights and use like night vision when preparing for RoboCop to come in. I guess they know he's coming somehow.
Yeah, he gets tipped by some crooked cop.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
In this scene, okay, first of all, it's totally pointless to turn the lights off, right? I mean,
I
do they
thought
think
so.
that
Yeah.
RoboCop can't see in the dark or something?
I mean, it seems like he would have just as good a night vision as any of the humans would. You know?
Absolutely. I mean, they go through.
Yeah.
They didn't think about him being able to see in the dark, but they thought everything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, they turned the lights off. I think they only did this so they could make this cool action scene with like in the dark where you see like the burst of the guns, and it's kind of like that scene in Kick-Ass where it's in the dark, which was done way cooler. But
Another creative team that would be fun to see a RoboCop movie from, I think.
totally, yes,
Yeah.
good call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
So
this scene was
yes,
wild because like they set up the scene as like shoot him with 50 caliber bullets or above and aim for the head. So they know how to kill him, but he takes so many bullets and he's just like invincible.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's really fast in this one. He's not as tanky, like slow and kind of like stompy, you know.
Yeah.
But he shows up in this night vision place, drives his motorcycle through a door, and just I don't know. It's kind of cool, kind of funny. Just straight at these guys, just blasting them away. Runs the motorcycle
Yeah.
right into them, kills everybody. Again, like this whole scene was. They only did that just so they could have this stylized fight scene. Right? There was no point for the
Well, they
lights.
did kill Valen in here. So this is
Yeah.
like, yeah.
But for the reason they turned the lights off, there was no reason.
There was no reason for that. I 100% agree.
Yeah. So yeah, they kill Valen just like that. I kind of even missed it in my notes. I feel like it happened so fast, but he's not really the point of the movie at all, is he?
No. And again, I think this movie could have been a full season of a TV show, or it could have been its own trilogy. There's so much story going on because even as he kills Valen, they get the guns from Valen's guys. He uses his like cop vision to pull the fingerprints, and it's the fingerprints of those two crooked cops from earlier in the movie. So they were the ones who supplied Valen with these guns. And so then he goes back and goes through the chief of police's call log to find out that she was the like. I could keep going, but I don't think that I need to. There's so much cop procedural in this.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know.
He confronts him at the police office.
Yep.
These two guys, and they're like, "What? We gonna play good cop, bad cop?" And he says, "Nah, Daniels, bad cop, RoboCop." Lewis says that. So they they talk about, hey, I got the evidence, I got your prints. And he ends up shooting both of these guys in the office.
He sure does. Yeah.
And they say that the chief was in on it as well. So the woman, I don't know her name, Chief Karen Dean. She's got a few scenes in this movie, but he confronts her as well. He's trying to get a confession out of her. And right at this moment, that one guy turns him off, Jackie Earl Haley.
That's right.
So,
yep.
They're all in cahoots at this point. I don't know why they turned him off, because
I mean, they had to turn him off. If he had killed the police chief of Detroit, like that's really bad PR for OCP, and this whole like Washington D.C. law subplot would have been totally thrown into disarray, and OCP would have lost, right? So,
well, yeah, but then they immediately, after he turns them off, they're like, "Oh, this is really good for us." Because
Yeah.
now it's like, they can go on the Novak report again and have them spin it as like, the Detroit police department is corrupt, and he's in there cleaning up even the police department. So again, like that, then why turn him off? Get the confession from her, then he has that evidence.
Great
But
point. Yeah.
anyway, it kind of contradicted itself right there, I feel like. Although it's probably good that he didn't just kill her on the spot. Yeah. So what else happened here? The Novak report, like I said, the police is corrupt, and they kind of make an announcement that Murphy has been attacked and is hurt, right?
Yeah, they decide that what's better than a hero, a dead hero, was the line from the script.
Yeah.
And they basically decide they're going to shut Murphy down. They have all of the evidence that they need that this product works, and he's becoming a liability. And his wife is really upset with what he's turned into, and she's blaming OCP. And so at this point, the only press they're getting from him is bad press, and he would be more used to them dead. So they kind of start, moving towards that. And this is where,
so they're still
where Michael
using
Keaton
him.
finally starts to become an actual bad guy, I think.
Yeah. They are using his death to try to push the vote as well, because people like RoboCop, so they're trying to be like, oh, I don't know, he's dying, and vote for us to keep him alive, I guess. I don't know. But then the wife does speak out, and it's not good. But they're still trying to paint him as a hero. The Senate vote is tomorrow. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway. So let's see. I think the wife speaks out, and they're talking to the doctor about it, and he's like, I don't want any part of this anymore, I think, right? But I want to make sure the family is taken care of forever, basically.
Yep.
And he also demands a full staff and funding for 10 years for his scientific projects.
So you can finally get those guitar solos figured out for that guy.
That's his goal,
that's his
man. Main goal is
it's going to take 10 years so that guy can play with emotion.
Do you think that he was? Do you think that he was like a art school dropout, and he wasn't ever good enough at guitar, and so he spent his entire life trying to make robotic arms that can play guitar perfectly?
Maybe that's it. Yeah. There's his origin story. You just figured it out.
I will become the greatest guitar player. Anyways, let's see what happens next. I think it's endgame time here.
It's endgame time. So the Dreyfus Act does get repealed, and so it's time to shut down RoboCop. He's served his purpose, but Gary Oldman has a change of heart, and he goes down to save RoboCop before it's too late. He releases him into the world. Meanwhile, Sellers is going on TV. This is Michael Keaton is going on TV and meeting with RoboCop's wife to tell everyone that he's dead. Alex Murphy has died. This is more positive PR for OCP. But what he doesn't know is that that Gary Oldman has released RoboCop, and RoboCop is out in the streets. He is no longer locked up in OCP HQ.
And he has removed Robo's transmitter or whatever, so they have no more control over him.
Yep.
And they get Lewis on the case, so Lewis jumps in to I guess the plan is to go attack and confront OCP, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the next scene, I think, is the big Ed 209 showdown. He shows up outside of the OCP building, and there's a bunch of guards, and he shoots one of them and disarms them with like the taser. And the other guys just all lay their guns down?
That's right. That happened.
Why did they do that?
I don't know.
All right. Yeah, fair enough. Plot.
Yeah, they were scared. They were scared. I mean, but I don't know. It was a taser gun, so
they were scared of not forwarding the plot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess they were just scared that RoboCop was just going to waste them all, and he drives his motorcycle and jumps through the window of the OCP building into the Ed 2 and where the Ed 209s are kind of patrolling, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Really cheesy little scene here. And then it's just a blast fest for a while.
It sure
Do
is. Yeah.
you have any specific things of this fight scene?
Man, yeah, I mean, he fights some 209s. The big thing in this fight scene for me, this is where it really like clicked in my brain that one of my big problems with this movie is that being RoboCop is only awesome. Like
Yeah.
there's no drawbacks. You just kick ass, you solve crimes, you're fast, you're cool. And like in the first one, there's a lot of like morality with like, is this the right thing? Look how horrible this man's life is now. But in this one, he's just like he got turned into a superhero, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the Highlander thing, like, do I want to live forever like this kind of thing?
Yeah.
And having to deal with, I got all these powers, but at what cost kind of thing. Yeah.
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 This fight scene, that the one thing I did get in here, he gets I wrote it in my notes as he gets 127 hours. So he gets his arm trapped underneath an Ed 209 and has to shoot off his own arm.
It's a lot less painful to watch though than that movie.
Very, very much so. Yeah.
Oh, you've seen that movie, right?
127 hours. I have. Yes.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I won't get into it, but it's very brutal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Blastfest happens, fighting the Ed 209s. At one point, he gets on top of one of them and is just endlessly shooting on its head, like straight down on its head for like so long, trying to destroy it. Trying to, I guess, 1,000 bullets doesn't get through its armor, but 1,001 gets through its armor.
That's right.
So finally, he kills it, or like gets through to its systems and shoots it and kills one of the Ed 209s. I think there's 3 of them. Another annoying thing about this scene is that the Ed 209s in this movie are like fully capable, right? Like in the older movies, the Ed 209s are this joke of like
they can't do stairs.
Stupid robots. Yeah, they can't do stairs. They're just like directing traffic because they're just like this incapable joke. And it's funny because they're so big and menacing looking, but they're just like, they're not good. In this one, they're just big and menacing and evil and, scary and fully capable and can do fighting well.
Yeah, because it's a superhero movie. It's not a RoboCop movie. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Lewis bursts into this fight scene and knocks one of them over with his SWAT car. And yeah.
And then he distracts one of the Ed 209s so that Murphy can kind of escape and go confront the OCP bigwigs.
Yeah, so he there's a quick scene with that one guy, Jackie Earl Haley.
Mm-hmm.
And he finds him on the ground. He's like really beat up, RoboCop is at this point. And he finds him on the ground. He's about to kill him, and Lewis saves him at the last second by shooting that guy. And Lewis also gets shot in this moment. But luckily he scans him, and it's a non-fatal scan. You'll be okay.
That's right.
RoboCop can do everything.
There is also, they got rid of the prime directives in this movie. Like there's that scene with Jackie Earl Haley, and RoboCop can't kill him, but that's because he's a red asset. And so like the robots aren't allowed to kill red assets. But they got rid of the prime directives, and I thought this would have been a fine place for Directive 4. That was a good plot point in the first movie, and they just ignored it,
Yeah, they made it so it's like anyone wearing this red wristband he can't kill, basically, right? So you have to be wearing this thing. Like, we never talked about it, the very first scene when they're in the Middle East, the reporters all wear these like red bracelets, and they're like, don't worry, you'll be totally fine. They won't attack you or look at you if you wear these.
Right.
So that's kind of their one thing where like you just put on a bracelet and RoboCop can't kill you or won't attack you.
Yeah, it's like the same technology they use to go to Bumbershoot or Bonnaroo is the technology they use to keep people safe from RoboCop.
No re-entry though.
You're right. Cutting edge bracelet technology.
Yeah. So he makes it up to the top of OCP where Michael Keaton has taken his wife and child, not hostage per se, but they are on the roof up top with him, trying to escape by helicopter. And he confronts, says he's under arrest, tells everyone to get on the ground, and he drops the classic line here: "Dead or alive, you're coming with me."
That's right.
And he overcomes the red bracelet and shoots Raymond. Yeah. Is there anything else about that scene that is important? That's kind of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah, man, I don't know. It's just like I keep thinking about like Michael Keaton's character. Would he have given a shit what RoboCop's wife thinks? Feels like you could just write it off as like a hysterical woman. Don't listen to her. But he takes her finding out that Murphy isn't dead really seriously, like really personal, and like trying to bring her on the helicopter. And I don't know. It seems like
he was gonna try to kill her though, or something. Was that kind of where they were going? Like he's gonna silence her for good.
I thought they were just trying to get her out of there so she didn't see that Alex Murphy was still alive.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
And it's like, why do they care so much? You're like this huge corporation. I don't know, but they made. I don't know. Weird story choices. I don't know that I would have made those, but you know, they're doing their thing.
They're doing their thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of the end of the conflict there, right?
Yep.
Now we get a little wrap up at the end here. I can't remember what happens with the family exactly, but they show RoboCop again in his bare bones. They've cleaned him up, fixed him up, and he's got a new Robo suit.
That's right.
He's going back to being RoboCop.
And he goes back and hangs out with his wife and his kid, and that's kind of the end of that part.
There's a little Novak scene at the end too. How he's blaming the doctor. He's really mad that the doctor isn't being charged with crimes or something, right?
Yeah, the doctor went and like testified that the robots aren't ready and that they should not be allowed in the United States. And so even though that the Dreyfus bill was repealed, the president vetoed the repeal. And so there still will be no robot cops in the United States.
And they never really went into why, like the Novak report, are they actually in cahoots with OCP, or is it just kind of help their agenda of being like maybe some world dominating,
like nationalist fascism kind of thing? I'm not sure. Yes. Yeah, they don't. I don't think they make it explicit. I think you could read it either way.
Yeah,
but again, yeah,
they never actually say like they're in
right.
cahoots with them, or yeah. Anyways, yeah, and then it kind of just ends, yeah.
And that's it. Yeah, we end with Samuel L. Jackson on the Novak report, same as we began, and that's it. That's the end of the movie.
It ends with the song transition is "I Fought the Law" by The Clash. It's just kind of a weird tone for it. I don't know. It's just like, do we need this song at the end?
Yeah. I mean, I guess would it have been better or worse if it was "I Shot the Sheriff" by Bob Marley? Is that better or worse ending song?
That would have been good during the final fight scene when they're shooting RoboCop a bunch.
Yeah.
I shot the sheriff, but I did not shoot the RoboCop.
The RoboCop UT. Yeah. Well, Tanner, what do you think of this thing?
You know, oh boy, what did I think of this movie? I didn't love it. It's fine, passable entertainment, I guess, is how I'd put it. You know, it's not like the worst made thing I've ever seen. I like Joel Kinnaman just fine, and a lot of good actors in it, so I'll give it that. But overall, it just, as a RoboCop movie, it's not a RoboCop movie. It's just like a robotic cop movie. They should have called it Tin Man, or the robot cop guy. just something that's like, okay, it's a movie about a robotic cop, but it doesn't have that brand RoboCop feel at all to it, which is so important and crucial. And they really haven't gotten it right since the first movie. Say what you will about the second, but it's it's a failure of a reboot overall. I did see that they were thinking about making a sequel initially, but that has been canceled. And that's probably a good thing. But overall, yeah, it's just very mid, and it's not RoboCop is kind of how I feel about it. What about you?
Yeah, I think similarly. I think they put way too much shit in this movie. There's just way too much stuff going on, to the point that a lot of the stuff that I loved about the first RoboCop got pushed out.
Yeah.
And I think one of my big problems with it is like OCP as this nefarious like overbearing corporation is like not even a real player in this movie. Instead, we get Michael Keaton just being Michael Keaton, and like OCP isn't really there. There aren't prime directives. Like he doesn't spin the gun. Like there's so many things that they just there's so much like this is part of a killer franchise, and they left so many parts of the franchise off to the side to tell like a just because there's so much other shit in there. It's like a cop procedural and a superhero movie, and there's no room left for RoboCop,
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Like you said, it was entertaining. Like the movie seems well put together, and I mean, I guess I respect him for taking some big swings and trying something very new and very different. But I think it lost a lot of the Alex Murphy core at the center of this giant robotic monster.
It had no soul. It was
no soul.
It was robotic, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and from what I could see, what I've read here is that like the director and the star, Joel Kinnaman, both fought hard for an R rating, and they got a lot of studio oversight and pushback during this making of the movie. He even the director was like, this is like one of the worst experiences of my life, he said. He kind of walked it back afterwards, but he hasn't really done much Hollywood stuff since. So it sounds like he didn't like that he didn't have creative control. So who knows what they were trying to actually do with this movie versus what it turned into.
I'd watch the Snyder cut of this movie. I'd love to see what he had in mind. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much they filmed it. So what I see here is that they were trying to get the R rating, but due to a large budget, it kept expanding, it ballooned to $60 to $100 million while filming. So yeah, for whatever reason, it just kept getting more expensive, and they're like, no, we need it to be PG-13 so more people can see it.
Sure.
And so I don't know if they filmed a lot of violent scenes or had more. Even then, I feel like the satire part of it was kind of left out. So
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it had better beats before, and they just the studio fucked it up. I'm not sure.
It seems like there's enough. Yeah, I mean, they also did like an origin story for RoboCop. Like, there's enough meat in there. They just put too much stuff in. I think you could have made a whole season of TV out of this, and it's a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, very bloated. And yeah, it's better than the Total Recall remake, which was another Paul Verhoeven movie that they remade just like 2 years before. I'm still waiting on the Showgirls remake.
My fingers are crossed, man.
But yeah, overall, just very disappointing. I'm glad they didn't go through with the sequel. Let's see, Chris, I want to ask you, do you have an MVP of this movie? And do you have any beef with this movie specifically?
Well, I think we talked about the beef already, so I'll let that one lay. But MVP, yeah, I mean, I liked Gary Oldman's performance. I liked Jay Baruchel, or whatever that guy's name's performance. Michael Keaton. The actors I thought did a good job. Joel Kinnaman was fine as RoboCop.
Except for that he wasn't a robo.
He wasn't yeah, he just was Joel Kinnaman with a
Yeah.
black helmet on. Yeah, so maybe I didn't love his performance. Yeah, man, I don't know. It was okay. It doesn't have the stuff that I love about the first movie, and so I think it kind of bums me out.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. Did you have an MVP or?
Yeah, the MVP of this movie for me is the lungs and the face, and the motorcycle. So there's
Okay.
a few tidbits I kind of enjoyed. It's like the jetpack in the third movie. You know, the jetpack was the MVP, and now the motorcycle is the MVP.
I
Just
love that.
a gadget.
Mhm.
My beef with this movie is, you know, forget all the plot points and all that stuff. It comes down to the director and the camera work. I mean, maybe it wasn't his fault now that I've read a little bit more about it, but just like the constantly moving camera and that feel to this movie just is so annoying. I can't stand it. I can't stand that like constantly rotating camera. Everything's constantly moving and it's not that exciting. Doesn't, you know, it tries to make things more exciting than they are or something. And it's just dizzying to watch. Also, there's just like they're not really saying much about anything. Like the first one. Yeah. So that's kind of it. Just like the camera work is really annoying to me.
Fair. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, let's see. What else can we talk about here? Okay, the box office here. So this movie costs 100 to 130 million dollars. So big budget. And it made 242 million worldwide. So it made its money back. It might have even profited a little bit. And so, you know, it's a modest hit. It didn't get the sequel, I think, because of public perception, I would guess.
Yeah. I don't think people liked this movie when it came out.
No, I mean, lots of people saw it.
Yeah.
It was so domestically only made 58 million, which is bad.
Oosh. Yeah.
It made a ton overseas, probably just because, I mean, the director I think is Mexican, and so maybe he has some international appeal over there.
And we talked about those scenes set in China. I wouldn't be surprised if they made some money in China. Yeah.
Honestly, that's probably very accurate. I mean, studios, at least for a long time, were doing that specifically.
Yeah.
Like, China won't show their movies, and it's a big box office place. Like, they make a lot of money, so they have to include something about China in their movies for them to be shown over there, basically. I mean, it's crazy, but that's a real thing. I remember specifically The Martian had some controversy with that, where they had to make China the lead space program in the movie or something like that for them to be able to show it in China. So they did that and they went that route.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, something like that. I have some of the details wrong, I think, but it's basically that.
Sure.
Anyway,
it's a ton of money. It's the difference between a profitable movie and not, you know, so it's got to be, you know, frustrating as a director, I'm sure, but as a producer, you might have to make those choices a little different.
So the movie that this director had done, a couple movies, really well reviewed. I might have to see these. Elite Squad 1 and 2. Got an 8 out of 10 on IMDb. That's really good. And this is kind of like what made him famous. This might be the reason why he internationally this movie made a bunch of money because these were big hits over there. But yeah. Anyways, so worldwide it made a ton, and yeah, but didn't get a sequel.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see here. What's that?
Oh, I was going to say, I think sometimes we talk about what you would like to see the franchise do now, right? Because we're through the RoboCop movies. What would you want to see a sequel to this one? A full reboot? Should they leave it alone? Or should we save that question for the survey?
No, yeah, let's talk about it.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad they didn't make a sequel to this. I think a legacy sequel could be cool if done correctly. That Rogue City game that I played was kind of a legacy sequel. because it had the same voice actors as the original and kept a lot of the tone. Wasn't quite as like good satire and stuff as it could have been, but there's some good stuff, and I'll talk about the wrap up of that in a moment. But where should it go? I think what I do know is happening actually is that Amazon bought MGM this year, who owns RoboCop. They listed that as a franchise, and I guess they're starting to make a TV show and a movie are kind of in development.
Okay.
And I think the TV show is supposed to be the main thing coming out first. So we'll see what happens. RoboCop procedural done well could be awesome, right? In the right hands, like we were saying with The Boys, kind of creative team, something that's violent and satirical. It just needs to keep those themes. It needs to be over the top, violent, and satirical. Keep some of the robotic elements as well. Doesn't need to be super flashy or anything. So I still think it's a great IP and could have something great be done. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I agree with all that. The other thing that I'll add in there, I would love it if they would go back to like 80s tech. I always loved the scenes of like the bullet ricochet that we saw. I think that was in RoboCop 2, where it has that cheesy like green grid. Like bring that stuff back. Like I like the 80s aesthetic, and I think when they tried to 2014 it, like it lost some of the character for me. So
and it was set in like 2038 too, so they even tried to further futurize it.
Right. So I don't know. That's what I like about these movies. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, they could just set it in the 80s.
More of that throwback vibe. Yeah, make some more of that throwback vibe. It's more fun. I don't know. I thought the setting was a little more fun in the 80s. So
for sure. Yeah, and some things just
or make that fucking Terminator RoboCop movie.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Make that.
I want to see that so bad.
Yes.
Zack Snyder, please. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so I mean, a lot of these we've talked about this in other movies, the timeless versus time capsule. I'm not going to ask that about this movie, but I think you were talking about the 80s aesthetic, and that some movies just certain things just only are good in the time period that they're in, right? Like I don't know if modernizing RoboCop could ever work in a certain. I mean, hopefully I'm wrong, but it just kind of works in that setting. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and they tried to change the setting to include like the Middle East in this one and contemporary like news talk show stuff, and it makes it more complicated. I feel like the geopolitical stuff and I don't know. I'm talking out my butt right now, but yeah,
what is
like it just feels like adding that stuff in. It does make it more contemporary, and it does let them speak on that stuff, but it also makes I don't know.
They just don't have like a clear vision.
Yeah, maybe it's that the vision wasn't quite there in this one, and maybe
but trying to say anything about it. They just like
I
don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Thank you for bailing me out there. I got halfway into that idea.
I wanted to hear where that was going. I was in.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's everything I got on RoboCop 2014, except for I don't know why I keep wanting to bring this up. That Abby Cornish played the wife in this movie. We didn't really talk about her. She was okay at best. I don't really know her from anything
much
else.
Bigger role.
Yeah. But I did see that it said other names when I was looking up her IMDb, other names Dusk. And I was like, Dusk? What does that mean? So apparently she has a bunch of music under the name Dusk.
Really?
Which I'm very curious about, but I can't really play it on here. So go check out Dusk. I just wanted to promote Dusk.
Yeah, shouts out Dusk.
Shouts out to Dusk. Yeah, Abby Cornish doing Dusk. Oh, and it's like she's like a rapper, singer, songwriter. Dusk.
Is it like an Evanescence thing?
Okay, kind of looks like it
later. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll listen to it when we're done here. All right, yeah, that's all on RoboCop 2014. I got a little bit of milk here. It's a part of the show where we talk about the other IP
Mhm.
surrounding RoboCop. We've talked a lot about. We've gone over pretty much everything there is, as far as I know. All the big things, at least. Chris, do you have anything this week? First off.
Very little. I finished reading the Frank Miller Omnibus, kind of his
Mm-hmm.
take on RoboCop 2 and 3 before the studios kind of changed his ideas in his script. And yeah, there was just a little epilogue that I didn't quite get to, and it kind of ended with the humans taking over. Like this is our city. There wasn't much left, but I was glad I read it. It was kind of fun to see. This violent graphic storyteller, tell the story that we had watched in those two movies. It was kind of cool reading that while we were watching these.
Yeah, a little different take on the same thing that we're watching. Pretty cool.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that was it for me. Did you get into anything this week?
Well, just a little bit. I finished the RoboCop Rogue City game.
Okay.
First, though, I also tried to play. There's this 2003 Xbox PlayStation 2 game called just RoboCop, and I tried to play it, and I just couldn't get a good copy working. It was really like stuttery and almost impossible to play without, wanting to jump off a cliff. Just like this, the audio was constantly chopping away, but what I did play of it was kind of fun. I know it got poorly reviewed, like really panned. But basically, you just pick like you have a little database and you go through and you pick a bad guy and you go to different levels and you fight through a bunch of enemies and then arrest him. The one thing I did like about the game is that there's you can either arrest or kill bad guys. I don't know if it's all of them or not because I didn't play too much of it. But you shoot them a few times and then you have the option to just arrest them instead of actually killing them.
Okay.
And you go up and you just press like X to arrest and they disappear. Like collecting bad guys. But yeah, that's that game. It's pretty basic, just shooter, early 2000s. Not great, and my copy was really shit. But the other game was the RoboCop Rogue City. The whole reason I wanted to do this franchise was to play this game after to spend 20 hours playing, and it's a really awesome game. I talked about it last week, but I finally finished it officially. You have the battle with the old man as RoboCop 2, and so the part that I want to talk about is that throughout the game you can like choose to give tickets for menial things like oil spills under your car or a homeless man drinking in public. Like, do you let them go with a warning or do you ticket them? And every time I chose the just annoying cop, like I was being very ticky tacky and I was giving tickets for every single thing that they had, which affected the outcome at the very end. So
It
at
did.
the end, yes.
Okay, because you weren't sure about that last week.
Yeah, and it's really only the one moment at the end. So there's a part where you are on TV, a little cutscene, and they're asking you which mayor candidate do you support, and it's the same mayor Kuziak, I think, from RoboCop 2.
Okay.
And then a new guy that's like kind of works for OCP, and he's like kind of the badder guy. And at the moment, like I chose Mayor Kuziak. I said I support him because he's, pro people, anti-corporate kind of thing. And it turns out that me showing my support for him was a bad thing because everyone voted for the other guy. So basically,
because they all hated you.
Because they hate me.
Yeah, that's great.
Which is amazing. The end, I think it changes you defeat everything and like your perception goes back to good. But in that moment before the end of the game,
that's great.
It's really funny. And I was like, now I couldn't go back and like change my decision because I had already given all those tickets and everyone hated me. So yeah, I thought that was funny. They vote for the opposite of whoever you support at the end.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find my save file. I wanted to go back and try to just support the other guy to trick them into voting for the guy that I wanted, but I didn't get to test it out.
Too late, Tanner. That's not how time works.
But overall,
you made your bed. Yeah.
I know, right? But overall, really fun game. I probably won't play it again because it's pretty basic, really. But you get to live in the world of RoboCop pretty accurately for a little bit. And yeah, I loved it.
Which is what I wanted out of this movie we just watched today.
Oh, we did not get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all the milk I got there. I think that's it. Are we done on RoboCop? Are there any other franchise questions you want to discuss?
That's it, man. I think we're good on RoboCop. Solid month of OCP and Alex Murphy and Sergeant Lewis. Yeah.
Overall, an awesome franchise with some really good stuff. The first one, of course, and the RoboCop versus Terminator, which I loved. Some of the games are good. And a lot of duds along the way, but that's what happens with the cash cow machine,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some of them are hits and some of them are not.
Yep. And it made them a lot of money, so good on them. Good for them. Somebody out there with deep pockets is very wealthy because of RoboCop.
And I bet we're going to get some more sequels in no time if Amazon just picked this thing up. So
yeah, it sounds like it's on track. It'll probably, I bet within a year or two we'll have something. So
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about what's coming up next. We've got we're going into the Wonkaverse. I'll just say it.
That's right.
So we got a big movie coming out. Sorry, the Wonka movie comes out next month. If you don't know about that, it's like a prequel origin story of Willy Wonka, right?
I think that's right. With what's his face? What's that actor's name?
Timothy Chalamet.
So we're going to be watching the Wonka movies in the lead up to that, with the Gene Wilder movie, the Johnny Depp movies, and then I think we're going to go to theaters in our respective cities to watch the new one, and we'll talk about that on the show.
Very excited for that.
Yeah.
It should be good. It seems like Wonka is becoming a cash cow. I'll talk about. Well, I saw a commercial while watching this newest RoboCop a couple hours ago for the Wonka IHOP partnership. So just a little tease of where this is going. Wonka is blowing up. They now have purple pancakes. They have a Wonka burger. I don't know what's on the Wonka burger, but I'm very intrigued.
Yeah.
You think it's candy?
Tanner,
candy on the Wonka burger?
I don't know if I want to say this on the show, but you need to go to IHOP now.
Oh my God, that's it. I'm gonna live stream.
You have to go to IHOP. Yeah, I need to hear about these things. I unfortunately don't have any IHOPs in my city, so this one's on you,
Chris. It's the International House of Pancakes. Are you sure there's no IHOP there?
Oh man, I'm excited for this one. There's also obviously some great books. These are based on some Roald Dahl stuff, so I'm excited to read those. And maybe there's video games or graphic novels. I have no idea.
There is a video game for GameCube, and I'm very excited. It's supposed to be terrible.
Hell yes.
And I will just say real quick back to IHOP. They actually dropped. It's actually not the International House of Pancakes anymore. They officially made a statement that doesn't stand for that anymore. It's just called IHOP. So it's no longer an acronym.
They just turned it into a word?
Yeah, it's just, they just kept the same name. It's IHOP. They don't want to change the brand, but it officially doesn't technically stand for that anymore.
For anything. Okay.
For anything. Yeah.
Great.
I loved it.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so stay tuned for Wonka. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. Also, Chris, where can people take the survey for RoboCop 2014?
Oh, I was just going to say that's the other thing we need to plug is get all up in the show notes and find a link to the survey that we put together to go along with this movie. And there's a couple wrap up questions for the RoboCop verse as well. So yeah, help us celebrate the end of RoboCop before we bring in the new with Willy Wonka next week.
Yeah, real quick, if you haven't watched the movie or haven't watched it recently, you can still play along. You can just vote or write not applicable or something in a prompt if you don't know how to answer it.
Yep.
But there's going to be plenty of prompts that we've talked about here already today that you can play along and joke around with us. So if that's
please do.
Please do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we'll see you next week for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Bye.
Bye.